Book launch is a book of poetry by Rudrakshi Bhattacharjee. This place I've never been. This is also published by Atta Galatta.
Good afternoon. Thank you everyone, all of you, for being here today, making it a very memorable occasion for us. Thank you Lakshmi, Subodh, Atta Galatta for making this book possible, for making today possible. I wanted to also thank you Jeet, Ranjit, Monica for being here today with us, Shinie, and really privileged to have you here, all of you, and for the reading today. And really privileged, really honored to have you all here for this reading. Thank you. Thank
The book is called This Place I've Never Been, and the author, poet is Rudrakshi Bhattacharjee. This is her second book. Her first book is a collection of short stories, and that's called This Is How It Took Place. So we'll start, Jeet, we'll start with you for the reading.
It's a real privilege to be here to help launch this book of poems. When you hear these poems, or when you read them, you're going to say the most obvious thing, and that is, these are extraordinary poems for such a young writer. Rudrakshi was 16 when she died. But that's the obvious thing to say. It really isn't extraordinary when you realize that this is a writer finding her voice in the world. And that voice is the very opposite of mediocrity. I use the word mediocrity because it's a word that she uses in her poet's note, which begins this book. I'll just read a couple of paragraphs from that author's note. We live an illusionary life. We are sitting in the center of the great big band of reality that we have been dealt, and we think we know it all, we've seen it all, and we are concerned only with the daily struggles of mediocrity. We ignore what is outside our understanding of life forms because it's painful to try and see the furtive unknown that lies outside us. We assume this world was made for us, this universe, these stars. We ponder our simple thoughts. We burn our livers and lungs to shield us from the strange and terrible reticence of all that we do not know. We make up less than a millionth of this universe, and still we think this universe is for us. Still we talk of our self-importance. It's not logical to think this. The universe contains a variety of life forms, and each life form ignorant of the other. Consciousness exists in every life form, and this consciousness that is trapped in our mechanical, corpulent, desultory bodies is the only part of each life form that can transcend the illusion that it has been placed in, break the so-called reality it lives in, to explore the unknown that lies beyond. I'll read one poem from this extraordinary book. Melancholy Mechanized. Our hearts ablaze in the alleyway and nowhere to look for shelter. Your nimble hands and branch brown eyes will hide us till the summer. Till we make a hearth of broken bells and fading dreams and trodden souls. but your charming lies and brazen songs will keep alight our fire. I once possessed the wealth of the world and gold of stolen wood, but all I had I no longer am, for I am here with you underneath your starry sky, your golden night, and your overly crescent moon. Black eyes from stenches of lightweight wines, burgled breaths of low-class lives, hung vintage orbs of illuminescent lights, the lengths of travel to find your prime. Dense fixations of awakened eyes, harsh and eager, statutory to a bar's dire fights, a bite of a lip, a kiss from a tongue, heathen youths in their brazen songs. A dance of whiskey in molds of gin, and I, whisked afore to your years of sin. Knew you not then, not of your moonlighted cries, knew you not then, not of your hushed sighs, knew you not then, not of your incandescent demise. Suffice you as I shrive you now, hold you as I pacify you now, grow you as I task you now, melancholy, mechanized. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
It is such a gift to be a part of the launch of this collection. You know, the excerpts from the poet's note that Jeet read, I was really moved when I heard it, because when I read it, because when you're young, when you're 17, you're feeling the world so intensely. And you're not just feeling the world intensely, that intensity is also that word, right? Like that it's pushing back against the mediocrity. And it's really wanting to reach towards the furtive unknowns. And somewhere, as we kind of move up, you know, in the journey of life, we kind of fall, sometimes we fall to the spell of, you know, mediocrity. Hopefully we don't. But I think that intensity, that gift of that intensity is so precious, because I think that is what the world really needs. And we can really feel that come through so strongly in these poems. So it's such a privilege to read a couple of poems from this collection also here with you, in front of you today. I am not, okay, I probably need a little more light. So I'm going to go called What's in the Water. He sits on my knee like a child, bobbing up and down, content in the water as I push him into it. His hands, the paddles, and his mind, the ride beckoning him along. What's in the water? He says again, but now he's a man, and the water has started its retreat from him. He's losing his vitality. The water is losing its moisture. What's in the water? The old man asks me, as if I might know more than him, for I have touched it, I have left it. And he thinks he is special when he says, why was I taken from the water? I know, I knew the answer, but I know I have forgotten. The sea was open, but so was the bottom. Short poem. The pages of my book open up on a nostalgic room. The smell of proven fumes, the words bring back my solitary sense, for I have spent many a night with them. The night was often dark with a howling wind, but I was not scared. My mind was hooked in, so I read and read and read and read. I've lived with the characters, I've lived in their houses, I've lived inside their pages. I loved, protected by reading.
The fact that this was a very young person who wasn't caught up with just the sense of vulnerable, embattled solitude. There was also this great sense of being, in however vexed a manner, a part of something far larger, something infinite. And I found myself thinking when I read her introductory note, it reminded me of certain things that Carl Sagan used to talk about. This idea of what it means to be connected to this pale blue dot of the earth. What does that mean in terms of a far larger sense of being, and where and how does one find one's place in it? And the poems themselves were very, very accomplished. They're amazing to read in terms of their musicality, their cadence, and also this strong sense of conducting, if you will, an argument with all that stands against the possibility of speaking, of expression. And through each of these poems and through that introduction, I just found myself in the presence of someone who had a great sense of calling, a vocation, the idea that this is the poet's task and this is what the poet must bear witness to. So I'm going to read two poems also. Until the lightning starts. Until the lightning starts, the world grows more and more silent as I wade into its depth. The mist hangs omnipresent whichever turn I take next. It glowers over the crescent hills, rages heavy through the wind, takes my mind and twists it so I can't think again. Forgotten are the sorrows, fading is the heart, all else shrouded until the lightning starts. Skies burst into flames of fiery red of warning. It shines with the memory of those the mist lost. Ground, a sudden graveyard of tremulous hopes that rose scarlet stains the horizon and drips on the earth. Dreams strewn over withering trees, ashes hold their broken thoughts. The picturesque image is gone as I think of all those the mist took and how we all forgot. This one's called How Can I Help You, Officer? I like to have you next to me with shallow and mournful breath. I can see the stains below your eyes, darling, from all that heavy weeping. Your sadness gives me a sense of self, reminds me of the unfinished. For while you laze and cry, I am just beginning. I do not say I like his death, nor do I claim otherwise. I do not weep with your saddled eyes, nor do I accept the fate of this tuneful turning. Now hush, my dear, for the deed is done, and you must not keep this up. I have already allowed enough misdemeanors under my weary roof. Oh, my sweet, you think I believe your careless crystal lies. You think I trusted all those hesitated pauses under your undressed breath. I once knew you were mine. I cannot pretend to have felt nothing but place-holding pleasure. I cannot pretend not to know of your ended lover's tenure. You will, my love, never know of all I have done to cage you, of all the bloodied acts of God I have only ever mentioned to my hands. Thank you for your attention.
It overlaps with what Jeet read in the beginning. It's from the poet's note at the start of the book. We assume this world was made for us, this universe, these stars. We ponder our simple thoughts. We burn our liver and lung to shield ourselves from the strange and terrible reticence of all that we do not know. I grapple with the thought that there is something terrifically simple and great that I'm missing, something I may have once known but cannot remember, and I can barely stand it. I think all great writings tell us a truth about our existence that we know but cannot explain in words. It reminds us of the truth as we carry out our simple tasks, the truth that brings us all together when we glare at this piece of writing and think, how is this more me than I am? Thank you Ranjit, Jeet, Monica, and all of you. I hope will pick up the book. It's called This Place I've Never Been. Thank you.